It's a BumbleKast Mini, sponsored by Goomba Broadcast.
In Sonic Adventure 2, it takes around 3 hours for a Chad to reincarnate. Is the time before reincarnation canonically much longer and is short for gameplay convenience? How soon will Cheese reincarnate?
Yeah, I assume like 90% of all Chow facts are gameplay, and just it takes a breadth of time. I kind of liken it to Pokemon, where in gameplay you can grab any critter and wander the weeds for 3 hours, and all of a sudden you have a small god in your portable Pokeball. But in their world, it would take years of dedication and careful animal training and study and discipline just to get one thing in any kind of viable combative state. And that's why gym leaders are the creme de la creme. So likewise, Chow are living beings. They need nurturing, they need sustenance, they need care. And you are practicing high-speed eugenics in the game, but in the real world, I imagine they're just like little snuggle happy babies, and nobody's really trying to force feed them parrots and peacocks or whatever. They just take care of their little water baby. And then some of them happen to grow up to be big and strong and compete and whatnot. As for Cheese, he's probably plot locked forever and ever, but I don't know. You never know when Sega's going to go crazy and let us go off script and do a what if future timeline thing.
He's crazy. He's special. That's the thing about Cheese. Do Chow retain their memories after reincarnation? Again, very concerned about Cheese.
Knee-jerk reaction is, of course, they learn the stuff that they learned in the kindergarten. They remember who's raised them, and thus they have affinity for. They retain all of that. But then I get to thinking about it way too hard, which has been kind of my career. And is it that they have the instinctual knowledge of these things? Like, not active memory, but they just kind of know inherently what to do. So that the person they raise, they don't know them. They just feel like they could trust them. Because that could add a whole bittersweet angle to it all, Officially, I have no idea.
Well, what would Black Doom have done had somebody poked out his Doom's eye? Could he make another one?
Now I'm imagining a whole Three Stooges routine. Only very, very weird.
Well, I mean, Three Stooges was kind of weird. Just on its own.
Oh, wise guy, in my mind, my headcanon is that yes, he could regrow a Doom's Eye. It might take longer because Doom's Eye was such a specific piece tied to his core being. I don't have any official insight into it.
Black Doom, the End, and Time Eater all walk into a bar.
And then they go, "Ow, who put this bar here? It's really low."
And then Perfect Chaos is the bartender.
Seltzer water for days.
Pretty much.
I have a question for you, Kyle.
All right, here we go.
Have you ever made any Sonic OCs?
Not really. No, I had one that was kind of, I guess, Sonic adjacent. Just, I don't know. But no, I don't really have any Sonic OCs. No, not really anymore. Nothing I ever did. None I ever did anything with.
Just kind of the fandom does it, so I guess I'll do it too type of thing.
I mean, yeah, I suppose they weren't really necessarily, I guess, specifically a Sonic OC. It was just kind of a general sort of, I guess, furry OC. But this was like almost 20 years ago at this point now.
Early internet culture, it was kind of a given.
Yeah.
Especially in our circles.
Yes. All right. Well, it's already established that Metal Sonic believes himself to be the true Sonic. Is this the same for Metal Knuckles, Tails Doll, and the Amy Dolls? And if this identity programming is true for the doll variants as well, do the Amy Dolls obsess over Metal Sonic?
They are programmed to be clingy. I again, no official insight, but I hope not, because I feel like that would diminish the tragedy of Metal's fixation. Like, if I were to pitch it just off the cuff, I would hope that Metal Knuckles sees Knuckles as the singular opponent, the ultimate matchup, and that is his one drive. Anyone else is just in the way. And so he'll take out anyone just to ensure that Knuckles is there for him to fight for all eternity. The dolls, maybe I'm just too nostalgic, but I kind of like the Creepypasta Tails doll. Just this no brain, head empty, creepy, slurpy voodoo doll that happens to slither around.
It's ironic considering Tails is the most intelligent member of the cast on the hero side. And
yeah, there you go. That's a fine spin to it.
And yet his evil duplicate is a head empty robot, or a head empty doll that's not even quite a robot. It's weird.
The thing too is that Tails doll doesn't really have a defined function. Like Metal Knuckles is clearly, the evil robot doppelganger. That's easy. And Amy doll also has a clear motivation in that she is, a heat-seeking explosive, basically. Tails doll, aside from racing, doesn't do anything. So, I don't know, maybe Tails doll needs more definition.
It be's creepy, that's what it be.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what it does. That's what it's for. Creepy. Can you explain Breeze, Amy's sentient car with a face?
She thought it was too impersonal, so Tails added animatronics. Sure, why not?
Weird.
Again, not official, just throwing that out there.
How do you do your Vector impression?
How do I do the Vector impression? It's kind of unnervingly how natural that comes to me. Part of it stems from just trying to mimic the Muppets.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is, yeah.
And he's kind of a mishmash of various Muppets. There's a little bit of Kermit the Frog tightness in the throat, and there's a little bit of the gravelly grr from Rolf the dog. So if you take a little bit of Rolf and a little bit of Kermit, you get Vector mostly. And then you add in a touch of a Brooklyn accent, a faux Brooklyn accent, maybe it's Jersey, who could tell, and it just kind of sounds Vectorish.
One part New York, one part Rolf, one part Muppet.
Another case successfully solved.
There you go. Yeah.
That'll be $3.50.
It helps that you tend to your voice tends to skew toward being Kermit by default anyway.
Thank you.
I mean, it's not your fault. Besides, Kermit is a very popular and well-beloved character.
Kermit is an excellent character. He tries so hard to keep things on the rails, to keep everyone happy, to keep the show going. And then he completely falls apart and flails, and it's hilarious. And then one time he turned into a vampire and bit Vincent Price, and that's just hysterical.
That's just funny. That's just funny right there. I don't care who you are. I've read that you had some plans in the Archie pre-reboot comics for Bean the Dynamite's origins as a Battlebird Empire experiment. I presume most of those plots were very early, but I was curious on how Fang would react if Bean turned out to be a government genetic experiment. Would he sell out Bean in fear of getting on the Battle Cuckoo's bad side, or would he remain loyal to his crazy mook?
I think Fang would remain loyal in his own way. I think Fang is kind of a free agent. He'll take jobs from tyrants and megalomaniacs, but he doesn't want to be tied down to any of them. And for Bean to be at risk of falling prey to that sort of thing, I'm not saying Fang would do it altruistically or heroically. Maybe more just of a, hey, this is part of my gang. You don't get to take what's part of my gang. It's mine. But I think he would stick up for his eccentric compatriot.
Fang is a bad guy, but he's not a bad guy.
I mean, he is. He's not the worst guy. Let's put it that way.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of villainy, I don't know. He's kind of just like, he's maybe a step above Rough and Tumble, but that's about it. Apparently back in 2017, Happened to find this by chance while perusing the Mobius Encyclopedia for the record. You said there was a chance that both Archie continuities could be concluded in the IDW comics. Obviously, this isn't happening, but was this legit a possibility at that time, or was this just plain wishful thinking? Also, how's Lost Hedgehog Tales going?
It is, technically speaking, still a possibility.
IDW has done that before with other books. They have,
and from my understanding, they have pulled some crazy stunts.
Yep.
To get things out of the doldrums. So in that regard, I can't say never, but pre-reboot would require, from my understanding, would require some serious hoop jumps that may not be worth the effort. Post-reboot is much more clean cut.
Yeah.
I think that would most likely just fall on selling the idea to Sega. But again, I am not in that decision-making process. I don't know all the ins and outs of that. So I know that it's an idea I have heard, but it is not on any agenda that I know of. So with that in mind, it's one of the reasons Lost Hedgehog Tales is kind of in perpetual hiatus, because I don't want to steal the thunder of what could be a really cool project down the line. So I'm kind of waiting for the shoe to drop one way or the other and go, okay, clearly I can or can't do this. Mm-hmm. There's other factors, but that's one of them.
Alrighty. You've explained your reasonings as to why you chose against using Tiara and Gazebo in Archie comics in a previous episode. Would you consider it as much of a risk for people who are making fan content with them?
I am not anyone's legal advisor. I should not be anyone's legal advisor. So take anything I say with a gigantic grain of salt. We're talking extinction level if it hit the planet-sized grain of salt. Not really a grain at that point.
It's a grain to somebody, not to us, but to somebody.
Galactus, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because the effort it would take to hunt down and litigate every single bit of fan art out there would be preposterous. I imagine it's kind of an understood rule that fan art is just kind of for funsies. Don't get too bent out of shape out of it. I can't speak for anybody officially involved, though. So, always be aware, always be respectful, but I wouldn't really lose sleep over it, I guess.
Going after fans never leads to anything anywhere good.
No,
it really doesn't. Like, unless they're like immensely profiting off of something that's not theirs, then it's like, yeah, it's a gray area. Technically, would be something you could go after them for, but it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
So it's not worth the cost, because you're not going to recoup that cost, because there's no possible way that a single individual has enough money to pay for everything that would be legally required of anything. And yeah, there's a few companies that are very protective, but it's not worth it for most of them. Had Nintendo approved your Mario comic pitch, do you think you would have eventually expanded to other closely related series such as Donkey Kong Country and Wario Land?
The impression I got was no.
Mm-hmm.
The Mario book, for what very little progress it made, sounded like it was going to be locked into one particular flavor and era of Mario, and that'd be it. The impression I got was that Nintendo of Japan just doesn't understand the way Western licensed comics work at all. So it's a business that they don't know how it works.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the issue there. But it would have been neat, sure, to have a Mario book that branched out as wild and creatively as the old Sonic book did. But even in best case scenario, and like the pitch that went public was the foundation, and I don't foresee us being able to branch out like that. It would probably have to be a Donkey Kong book specifically, or a Wario book specifically.
Yeah.
Or shoot, even like a Yoshi book specifically.
Yeah. You might have actually been able to legitimately call Nintendo's guidelines mandates. They may have actually been real mandates.
Which is so weird because, like, the ill-fated ARMS book seemed to be getting more latitude than I expected, but so it goes.
Yeah, but then it got canceled. So it's like, well...
Yeah.
Somebody somewhere saw something and was like, I don't like this. Or it just kind of... Maybe because of the... Maybe because the game itself didn't really take off like they'd hoped. So that might have been it, too.
Everything I've heard about it comes third hand at best, and I probably shouldn't, spread rumors. So I'll just I will honestly say I don't know for sure what happened to the ARMS book.
Too many legs. Not enough arms, too many legs. All right. And we got one last one here. This isn't really a question, though. It's just a statement. It says, Boom, Black Doom.
Now, this I remember. We had him as a crazy evangelical preacher.
Evangelical?
Or however,
evangelical, I think is what you mean.
Yeah, that one.
Yes. We did that before. Yes, we've done this before.
Take all the extremely vague themes from his one appearance and just dial it up to 11.
You piloted Shinji. I shall lay my hands upon you, Shadow, and you shall be healed. Go out in my name and in my glory and do whatever it is that you do in Sonic Boom. Praise me.
Which is nothing. He does nothing.
Oh, that boy. So directions. I will pray for you. Dear me, please do something about that boy. Okay, I guess I will. I shall lay my hands upon that shadow.
Creepy. Get your hands away from me.
Episode's Stranger Danger.
Good a cruel hedgehog's thesis over here.
I don't know. It'd be worth it just to hear "Fly Me to the Moon" sung by Black Doom.
Well, I mean, you can make
Fly me to the
there
moon
we go.
and let me dance among the stars.
Fly me to the Black Comet.
No, that doesn't match the meter.
I know. It doesn't fit, but it's funny. Black Doom smokes too much, though.
He is a smoker's lung.
That gravel, man. That's so much gravel in that voice. That's gravel, man. Stop eating all the gravel.
Thank you so much to Goomba Broadcast for sponsoring this episode. If you want a BumbleKast Mini of your own, head over to patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or become a YouTube member.
The Black Doom are his lungs. That's pretty good.